thanks very much for joining us. Today we're going to be talking about salaries and compensation. And if anyone's got any questions at all as we go, we do have the Q&A sorted out. So if anyone wants to put any questions in the Q&A, we'll try and do that as much as we can. We'll try and get to it as much as we can, and we'll finish within the half an hour. So here we go. So thanks again. For those people who don't know us, we've been around for a while. All we do is financial services. We also work in other countries as well. We've been lucky to do that, particularly in the States. And we're also independent. I think we might be one of the only independent ones left. So if anyone's out there with any offers, happy to take them.
We can say we are, unfortunately, Tony.
Yes, that's exactly right. So basically, we did some research with Advisory, Iress and Advisory back in late last year. We've got around over 100 firms took the survey, and basically what we're going to do is talk about the research. Results of that. So today we're going to basically, one of the things that's really interesting, as we probably know, the staff are the biggest expense item. It's around about 60% of all expenses. 60% of all expenses are staff. And whether it's a small business, which is 63%, or a large business, which is 57.8%, it's the biggest expense. And it used to be rent and staff. Rent's sort of coming down because of work from home. But staff are the biggest expense item. So basically, if your biggest expense item isn't managed, then it makes it very difficult to be profitable, and it makes it very difficult to be efficient. Staff are always highly rated. We have a client survey that people may know called the CAT-SCAN client survey. Staff are always highly rated by clients, so clients really like staff. And again, to be able to leverage that to increase the efficiency of the advisors is very important as well. Interestingly, 6 out of 10 clients, 6 out of 10 advisors think that salary costs are going to go up. And when you look at the results of the survey, which we'll see, that pretty much, there's very much an expectation that that's going to happen because there is a lot of competition in that environment. And 2/3 of firms are looking to hire in 2026. So that's not just advisors, it's also other positions as well, which we will go through and talk about. So I guess the issue there is, if they're looking to hire, what they're doing is they're looking to hire, generally speaking, people that have got experience. So they'll be looking to hire your people. They won't be looking to hire brand new people necessarily. So to not only recruit but to retain the staff that you have is going to be very important, because as we know, losing staff and then recruiting and then training can be very expensive. So if we look at the percentage of advice firms looking to recruit by role, it's not advisors that are the most looked after. It is the client service manager and the people looking after the clients itself. Okay, so again, getting those people on board, keeping those people, making sure that they're happy is going to be important, because just the basics of demand is the higher the demand, generally speaking, more demand than supply means that the costs go up. So if you can see there, administration support and qualified advisors obviously is important as well. And the other interesting thing that we see there is that the great majority of advisors or practices are still looking to employ direct as opposed to outsource, either onshore or offshore. And I guess
that top rated one, most people are looking to hire a client service person, and you relate that to the previous slide, satisfaction of clients, looking to hire good quality support people, sort of goes together, but makes it a real priority. And it gets very relevant to the end of this presentation, where we talk about how you keep these good people. Why work for you?
Yep. I think one of the other things too is that, while outsourcing, a lot of people have had a lot of success with outsourcing. I think the other thing is that, the sort of the feedback we've got is that depending where you're outsourcing to, if there's some sort of currency exchange or currency arbitrage, sometimes it's actually not that much cheaper to do that. So again, to make sure that the quality there is always the most important thing anyway. But certainly some people have done it well, but it's not necessarily something that everyone is embracing, but certainly consider it. Where to look when people are looking at recruiting new people? Online websites, again, the most important, and
That's slide, yeah.
recruitment.
Sorry.
Yep. And so recruitment and recruitment consultants are still up there, a third. But again, people are using networks and people are using the online things like Seek and those sorts of things a lot more. Okay, so if you look at your staff's history of their internet use and they're using Seek, be afraid. But anyone would do that anyway, of course. So.
Just a word
Okay.
of warning
So
or a
basically,
comment, Tony, on that first
yep.
Website online advertising. In about 100 years of working in this industry, I've never seen a bad CV online or a bad job description. So if you're looking online to hire, recruit, attract, be aware that you need to go another level down to verify what you're looking at, in my view.
Yep. And that's just not from the recruiter.
No,
So
not
that's
at
not
all.
just from the people
No.
looking for the job. It's also for the people that
That's
are
exactly right.
that are advertising for the job as well.
Yep, that's right.
Good point. So basically, what we're going to do is over the next 20 minutes or so, we'll go through the 4 key takeouts. The 4 key takeouts are around remuneration. We'll look at this in a little bit more detail. We'll look at ancillary benefits. We'll also look at performance-based, so bonuses and other performance-based incentives. And we'll look at basically hybrid, which is something that we've seen a lot, obviously, since COVID. And it certainly had its peak during COVID. And we'll have a look to see what's happening now. So they're going to be the 4 key takeouts we're going to talk about. Again, anyone who's got any questions and answers, any questions at all, please let me know with the Q&A. Alrighty. First one is remuneration. So when we look at the remuneration, again, we will have a look at some things. Basically, what we've seen, as we've seen previously, is that most all positions in the city have a higher salary than those that are regional. Again, it's probably just a demand and supply thing, but that's just a fact. That's just what it is. And the other interesting thing we found in this year's results is that the salaries in South Australia and Western Australia are actually higher than the Eastern Seaboard. So obviously there's a lot of competition in South Australia and Western Australia, high demand, low supply, which means the averages are going up. Paraplanning, again, paraplanning, we haven't necessarily seen an increase. We've actually seen a decrease in salaries. One of the things that I guess we're probably seeing there is that people are looking at the way that they put plans together a little bit differently. And it wouldn't be a consulting presentation if we didn't mention the famous AI. So I think a lot of people have seen, are probably using, some people are using AI in their in their process, in their client onboarding process and their review process. I don't think people are using AI as much as the general press would have you believe. I think a lot of people think they have to say they're using AI because if they think everyone else is. But again, I think the future, the people that are looking at the future are saying that people are going to be able to put together plans using AI more and more. With less reliance on paraplanners, or they're going to be able to do it themselves efficiently. That may be one reason why the demand for paraplanners has decreased. But again, time will tell moving forward. And basically, when we're looking at sort of remuneration, one of the things that we talk about is just when we're looking at the salary itself, Basically, it's just gets to the game. It's not just the salary. Salary obviously is an important thing, but it's not necessarily the only thing. And that's some of the things that we're going to talk about moving forward. This is something that will be very interested. People will be interested to see, depending on what salary that you are. So basically, there we can see these are the average salaries across all of the advised, all of the respondents to the survey, irrespective of whether they're city or regional or state-based. So you can see there that there are some big numbers. A lot of those numbers have increased over the last time we did this survey, which was 2 years ago. And you can see there that it's not an insignificant investment by practices to employ people. And you can see there that the majority of the compensation is still via salary, and there is some compensation, obviously, in terms of bonuses as well. We'll talk about bonuses in a little bit more detail. But as you can see there, advisors with more than 5 years experience top the ratings there. And you even go down to things like professional year advisors. You're looking at around about $90,000 a year. And so how to get the investment out of those particular advisors is also going to be something that people are talking about a lot. You know, they can't see clients by themselves. So how do you get the return on investment? And then very importantly, in terms of those provisional year advisors, how do you keep them? You know, back in the old days, the AMP and the National Mutual used to do all of the training, and then people would, basically then take those advisors away from the AMP and National Mutual. Who's doing the training now? And the answer is there's not really, there's no one place really that's doing any of that. So not only to get the return on investment for the money that you're paying now, but also to make sure that those professional year advisors stay. So that you can get the true return of that investment is something that's pretty important as well. And we'll talk a little bit about that in the bonus area as well. We've had some experience, our advisors that we've worked with have had some of those experiences as well.
So, Tony, just to recap, so an advisor on average is earning $200,000 as we speak, 175 plus 22. So call it 200,000. We know that in South Oz and WA, it's about 210, 220. And for the eastern states, it's about 190. So that's sort of, as you say, a considerable investment.
Sure is. And those advisors, basically, they see people. They see people.
Yeah.
Other paraplanners don't necessarily see clients, run involved with clients. So again, making sure you're getting the return on the investment is pretty important. Now, one of the things that we are going to talk about, and for those of you who don't know me, I like talking about things before the slide comes up. One of the things that we're going to talk about in the bonus structure is around the actual roles themselves and what the expectations are of those roles. So one of the themes that we see across all of this is basically the expectations of the role themselves. Now, we've seen on many occasions that because advisors see clients and because business owners can see that they're getting a return on the investment of advisors seeing clients, what a lot of people think about doing is turning a paraplanner into an advisor, or they encourage the paraplanner to become an advisor. Now, our experience is if that's a progression line, if that's something that has been spoken about, that can be a very good thing. But our experience also is, in a lot of cases, really good paraplanner doesn't necessarily want to be an advisor. What they want to be is they want to be a paraplanner. They don't really want to be in front of clients. So again, when we're looking at all of these things here, please be very clear about what the role is, having position descriptions, having exactly what roles and responsibilities people are responsible for, and asking them questions about what it is that they want to do, not just now but in the future, can be very important in terms of the satisfaction of the staff themselves, and also making sure that they stick around, because sometimes, if a paraplanner is enticed to become an advisor and they don't like it, they may very well go somewhere else to be a paraplanner again. So please think about that. All right, Terry?
You were right.
Right,
You got off track. It's good.
fantastic. And I did, but I'm very good at
You're going to save time
what
on
do
the
they
next
call it?
slide.
That's it's the weave. They call it the weave, Terry. The second thing is the ancillary benefits. So one of the things is that it's not just about the salary itself, it's about the overall package, right? And to innovate and to differentiate with that overall package can be very important as well. So again, it's the total package. It's not necessarily just the salary. And one of the other things I think is what we've seen, particularly in some of the work that we've done in the US, is the salary may be one thing, but to a business, to a practice, the cost of ancillary benefits is real, and to include that cost in the overall salary package of the staff member is particularly important as well. So it's not just the salary and the super. The overall package includes the cost to the business and the cost of the package, not just the salary and the super. And I think the other thing is, and the other question that we encourage people to ask is, why are people working for you? And again, it's not just the dollar salary, it's the emotional salary, and why is it that they're working for you? You want to jump in there, Terry?
No. I think we'll see how.
Alrighty.
I think the only point I would make, and I will, this
So
is
when you said no,
I meant yes. This is the area where every practice can have, it's an opportunity. Where dollars might be hard to get in some practices, budget, etc. This is the area where you can really differentiate and make the business offer completely competitive to your competitors. It's, as these benefits show, Tony. There's some great opportunity. Some of this stuff's standard fare, but some of it isn't. Some of it's really innovative and taps into what's concerning the people who work for you. Some great stuff here. This is really good stuff.
So even here, things like the mobile phone, laptop, computer. Obviously, it's something that people will do. They'll provide that to their staff for their work. Flexible working hours is another really important thing. Particularly when we see people coming back to the workforce, after having children, whether that be, male or female, doesn't matter. Having flexible work hours can be really, really important to pick up the kids after school, to do those sorts of things, to work 4 days a week or a couple of days a week or whatever that might be. Flexible working hours can actually be a trade-off against a salary as well. All right, and so that's one thing to consider strongly in offering, but also in managing as well. Interestingly, also, and we'll talk about this a little bit later as well, in terms of offering equity in the firm, in terms of advisors, half of the practices that responded to the survey are offering have the opportunity for advisors to offer to get equity in the firm, which again is pretty important as well. If you have a look down there, some of those things you think are going to be tickets to the game, but even things like salary packaging options, depending on the size of your business, there's heaps of businesses out there that offer salary packaging services, which can offer some real after-tax benefit to clients as well.
I think, Tony, when you look at that list, when you look at that list, towards the bottom, I think is where the opportunities lie for people to innovate now. I think recognition of the desire for staff to have community service, days off for charities, events, offering that speaks to the culture of the practice, as does reward for tenure, recognition of the fact that someone's been with you 5 or 10 years, recognise that in a tangible way. And I think the bottom one, given Australian economy and workplace, funding, encouraging, supporting medical healthcare benefits, I think a real attraction for a lot of staff, a lot of people. So if you're thinking about, well, I can't compete at 200 grand, but I can give people a day off if they're working for 5 years, or I can give them a day off for a community run or to pay my MBF. I think they're real opportunities, and it goes to the culture of the firm, and it goes to the previous question you asked, Tony. This is why I should work for you. You care about your staff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have a think there, and again, anyone, I think I might have mentioned at the beginning if I didn't. If anyone doesn't have a copy of the research and they want one, please just email us and reach out, and we'll send you an email. We'll send you a copy of the report as well. The third one is performance-based incentives. Now, this is a really interesting one because if we have a look at these things here, one of the things that we've seen is that oftentimes there is not a great deal of communication. There is not a great deal of understanding of the expectations, nor is there clarity on what those performance-based objectives are. First of all, it's not available to everyone. Oftentimes it involves discretion, which means, it's just up to there's no real logic behind whether it gets it or not. There is no clear measurable objectives, which makes it very difficult to understand what it is. And oftentimes it doesn't actually deliver on desired results. Now, one of the things that we've seen here, now this is particularly relevant for advisors with more than 5 years experience, right? Now, there's going to be, at a high level, there's two kinds of advisors that you're going to have. There's going to be one advisor who wants to be an advisor and wants to advise clients. There's somebody else that's going to be a bit more entrepreneurial, and they're going to want to be involved in prospecting and be involved in getting new clients on board. And it's often those advisors that want to be entrepreneurial who are going to be the future business owners. Now, if they can't see a path, a progression for them to become a business owner, they will leave to go somewhere else to become a business owner themselves. Right? And so in terms of that communication, that expectations, that clarity, particularly for those group of people, if there isn't that, then they are more likely to leave to look for other opportunities elsewhere, even if the owner of the business sees that person as a potential successor moving forward. If that isn't communicated, if the expectations aren't shared, if there isn't clarity and acceptance by the potential successor, then that means that person is more likely to leave to pursue another opportunity than someone else. By the same token, based on the other thing that we talked about just previously, some advisors aren't looking for that entrepreneurial spirit. All they want to be is advisors, and therefore, when you look at the salary, right, it may be 175,000, but when you look at the bonuses, the opportunity, the people that are more entrepreneurial are willing to contribute to getting new clients on board. Not only will be looking for that equity in the future, they would also expecting to get a higher salary or higher compensation moving forward. And that's something that we see that communication, the expectation, the clarity and the acceptance isn't necessarily happening. And I recall many years ago that working in a family business where there was a father and a child, and the child didn't know what the plans of the father were in the future. So they actually left because they wanted to be a business owner. So it's even in a family business, if those things aren't there, then it can lead to a miscommunication, which can lead to the employee advisor potentially not really understanding where it is that they're going to go in the future. When we see here, these are just some examples there of bonuses and different things. You can see there that the big thing here is that there is no, in many cases, there is not a clear and measurable objectives, which I think is really important. And on many occasions, the owners of the business don't think that their bonus structure is actually delivering what they want. Anything there, Terry?
No, I think we're sticking to time, I think, Tony. But yeah, I think the only take, having said that, the only takeout is that 1 in 3 businesses are saying they have a plan and it's not getting the results they want. So it needs to be revisited, I think. And those features there you've got on that slide, they're pluses and there are also some failings.
Yep.
But I think that, and you can structure your own plan around those features.
Okay.
Come up.
So in terms of number 4 is in terms of hybrid. Basically, what we're seeing is that obviously there was a big move to work from home in COVID, and now that is sort of going back a little bit. It certainly is something that we see that people are finding balance. The issues they have is around measuring productivity and then having that ongoing management and communication with people that are outside. And things that we've seen work are things like how things called team meetings, the daily huddle or the weekly huddle, having the state of nation coming from the principals or the owners of the business in what's happening in the business, and then getting people all together. So getting people all together actually face to face once a year are things that we've seen that have worked very well in terms of managing that hybrid workforce. So again, we can see here, obviously we're seeing here is that the people that aren't necessarily client facing, people are working more from home in terms of paraplanners and client service people with advisors there. But again, there are still quite a few people that are working up to a third of the week working from home, working remotely. This is one you love, Terry. Any comments there?
No. I think it's a matter of how the work's being done as opposed to where it's being done, I think.
Yeah. And I think that, the one of the things that people have really struggled with is how do you manage people? And we've seen different businesses have sort of software that they measure people that are, the time that they're at their computers, and then, I think really the output is the thing. The output is the thing to measure, because there's always ways that people can get around any sort of software where you're measuring whether people are clicking on the keyboard or not. So it's the output that's important, and the communication that's important in terms of
building
working from home and working remotely.
Yeah.
Correct. So you can just see there in terms of what people do. IT hardware obviously is pretty important, particularly given things like IT security, holding things like holding staff in-person meetings and all those sorts of things are always important as well. Again, we've seen real benefits of that. And again, it is an expense to get people to come if they're working remotely, particularly if they're working in different geographical locations, to get them to come together. But we certainly have seen some pretty good return on the investment of that. And again, mandating certain days in the business, so you can work from home if you want to 2 days a week, but on Wednesdays we all come in, we all work together. So again, you get that greater sense of team morale working there. They're things that we've seen.
Good.
So basically, in summary, I guess as we've seen, competitive remuneration, just salaries is just a ticket to the game. Ancillary benefits, and again, things like flexibility are really, really important. And that's an opportunity where if you're not doing that at the moment, it can be really good. Incentive plans are so important. Importantly, we think that the incentive plans, the more people move to objective measurements of bonuses are important. Not subjective, and not just if I'm feeling good, then I'll give you a bonus, and if I don't, then I won't. And it's not where you work, but how well, and again, the achieving of the the roles, the achieving of the roles and the responsibilities, having things, having outputs that are measured is really, really important. And again, never assume basically that staff are happy. And again, as we mentioned previously, people are looking to recruit. They will be looking to recruit your clients, your staff. As well.
Could be a client.
So not just recruiting is important, but also keeping your staff happy is really, really important as well.
And asking them,
So,
Tony, asking surveys, staff surveys. Ask your staff how satisfied they are. Where can you be better? Very few businesses do that.
Yep. So, and we do that. We have a confidential staff survey. So please feel free. So look, thanks very much for joining us. We will forward you a copy of the recorded webinar. We'll give you access to it. We'll also forward you a copy of the slides. If anyone wants a copy of the report, if they haven't got it, please let us know and we'll also forward you that. Thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to